This week on the Coaches Collaboration Podcast, 84+kg powerlifter BECCI HOLCOMB joins the podcast. We recap her record-breaking deadlift from the Arnold, dive into the world of equipped lifting, and throw in a couple shenanigans as well. The Coaches Collaboration Podcast.
Hey, this is Josh Pearson,
Performance Specialist with the Complete Athlete.
This is Cole Warren,
Certified USAPL Club Coach and owner of Salutum Health and Performance. Each week, Cole and Josh will take you through training techniques and tips, talk to athletes and fitness professionals to educate and motivate you for your fitness goals. Plus, you'll follow the journeys of Team Salutum Powerlifting and Get Complete Athletes. The Coaches Collaboration Podcast is brought to you by Salutum Health and Performance. Take your full power potential to a new level. Online powerlifting coaching. Customized programming to fit your individual needs and goals. Access to a coach 24/7. Whether you need a quick form check or a full program, Salutum Health and Performance has one goal in mind, taking you to the next level. Got a meet coming up? Ask about on-site coaching. Join the team that's setting records across the powerlifting community. Team Salutum Powerlifting with Salutum Health and Performance. Online at salutumhp.com. salutumhp.com. And now, the Coaches Collaboration Podcast. I'm giving Cole some air here because it's hot as H in here.
Yeah, how long have you guys been in there?
Well, we've been in this hot box now, this rhino of a studio for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little balmy. It's okay. We're watching.
Next time there'll be better planning from all parties.
It's been a ridiculous week, though.
Yeah,
so
it's been a total shit show this week on all
Stop.
across the board. So we're just kind of, going with the flow,
Exactly.
Your puppy sounds like Danny fucking K. Tap 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 to tap tap.
He is so excited because what time I went into work this morning at like 5:30 and pretty much haven't been home since then.
Oh, so it's deprived of attention.
Yeah, severely deprived. I mean, he has 3 cats to keep him company, but it's not the same.
Not
That's
the
like
same.
having the one boy and saying, you've got 3 sisters. They'll keep you company.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So one thing that I guess I didn't realize, you were telling me that your barbell club nights are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I mean, you work in a gym facility, but your big lift nights, do you still lift in that same spot or do you lift somewhere else?
Oh, no, I lift there. So my normal working hours are, Duke, stop, 1 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And so
Yeah.
I usually get in there, but I know it's disgusting. I usually get in there around 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I do 4 days of lifting, sometimes 5 there before I go into work. So then I'll lift, shower, go to work, and then work. I live there.
Yeah.
It's awful. But,
Awfully
I mean,
awesome, depending on who's listening right now.
I mean,
Right. I mean,
it would be nice if I got to see the outside.
I totally
a little
hear
bit
you
more.
because I used to work at the gym that we lift at, and like, you're in different modes when you're in work mode versus when you're in like training mode. So it's
Yes, and
hard
that's
to
hard.
like, it's hard to be in the same environment and bring both like mindsets. So
Mm-hmm.
I can totally relate to that.
And also a hard thing about lifting where I work is
Yeah,
people
people.
don't separate it.
Exactly.
So when I'm training, I'm stopped minimum twice for questions about something.
Right.
And it's just, come on, guys. I'm
Yeah.
trying to train.
Yeah.
I have to stop for 10,
and then you can't
20,
be
30 minutes.
You can't be a dick either because then it's like
I know. I just can't be like a diva and be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm not working right now. I can't help you with this.
yeah. No, I can totally relate to
Oh my
that.
God, I can just see you being like, hang on, I'll get to these squats in a second. I need to go refill the toilet paper in the bathroom because somebody cannot seem to do their job.
Yeah. it
Or
was-
let me go refill these wipes or do
Yeah.
this.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why even when I like would work at the gym, I would come in a separate time and work out and then like go back home so then I could come back like into just a different mode. Like I couldn't there's no way I could work out and then work or work and then work out after work. Like I just needed like time to like separate the two.
I tried that, but that means I'd have to get in there and lift at like 6 a.m.
Yeah,
and
that sucks. No way.
I'm not about that life.
No.
Not when I get home at, well, if I can leave at 9 p.m., I'll get home between 9:20, 9:30.
Right.
But the other night, people can just be butt heads.
Does the gym close at 9?
Yes, we close at 9 because we just don't have enough staff members to keep it open longer than that.
Yeah.
But some people come in at 8 p.m. and then they'll get out a whole bunch of weights. They won't put them away. So the other night I was there until 9:30 cleaning up all the weights, closing the place down.
Yep.
So
I closed for a long time, and like the whole last, because we were open till midnight. But the whole last hour, I would still tell people, hey, just a heads up, we're closing at midnight. And there was still people that I'd have to like kick out of the gym, be like, hey, you literally can't be here any longer, because if you get hurt past our hours of operation, our insurance doesn't cover it. So that's an issue. So like you do actually need to leave right now.
That's another thing. People don't understand when they come in, they have to sign a waiver stating that they are going to follow all of our rules.
Right.
And so we have huge issues with people trying to go barefoot. And that's a huge liability.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly leaving my office because I'll see them out there like, you got to put on shoes. You can't be out here with bare feet, not even socked feet, but completely bare feet.
And then that's just like a shitty thing for you. Like, you don't want to tell people that, you know what I mean? But like, you don't have a choice. But yeah,
I don't want to feel like the shoe Nazi, but it's what I am.
BECCI HOLCOMB, the shoe Nazi.
The shoe and shirt Nazi.
That's a problem too, huh?
Oh yeah. So it was 70 degrees today, and we had people walk in with just their sports bras, and like that's one thing. They can't wear just sports bras or super short crop tops. Like you have to wear a full shirt. And I'm trying to lift, but the other staff members didn't see it. And I came up and I went to her like, hey, you got to put a shirt on. And she just looked at me weird. I'm like, I work here. I'm not on duty right now. The sign says you got to wear a shirt.
But that doesn't get all the Instagram views. So like,
oh my God, I got to be Insta famous.
Yeah.
Dude, nobody was Insta famous today. Instagram and Facebook have been down all day. Two things I've noticed. The amount of people who started texting me because they were bored out of their gourd.
Yeah.
And two, I got so much shit done today. Like, the most productive day of my life. And when I look back, I'm like, what did I do different today? Oh, social media has been dead for 12 hours.
Is that what it was? Is that why I got so much done at work today?
Isn't it crazy? Like, you don't think about it, but fuck, we waste a lot of time scrolling through shit like, that doesn't matter.
You're just bored, so you pull it up and you just start scrolling and double tapping.
And then you lose like 15 minutes just like
Dude,
that.
Seriously, my poop time has gone up triple.
Oh, yeah.
Because I spend more time. I'll get to the thing now where my husband will go, hey, get off the stupid Toon Blast and get off the toilet. Like,
seriously.
I can vouch for that. My boyfriend Jay recently got rid of all of his social media, and his poops went from like 45 minutes to 10 to 15.
It's just so much more efficient.
Oh, man. It's great.
You know what's bad when you freaking legs start falling asleep? That's my
man.
issue.
Okay.
Or you forget, like, did I actually go?
Right. It's like, wait, why am I here?
Oh, gosh.
You mentioned the Squatty Potty. Please tell me you have one.
Yeah.
You have a Squatty Potty?
Yes.
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 Well, Josh, who wasn't able to be here tonight, who's normally on the podcast, that's what we're getting him for his wedding. We're getting him. I'm gonna have it monogrammed. We're getting him a Squatty Potty for his wedding present.
Dude, it makes your social media poop time so much better because your legs don't go down.
Yes.
That is awesome. Now I need to get one because now, like, when I stand up from taking a dump, I won't almost fall over.
You might find that you're most productive on the toilet.
Right. And plus, I can work on some hip mobility there too, you know?
Wow.
There you go.
Sitting down there at depth. Maybe that's what you need to do, Brooke.
Oh my gosh. Maybe that's my problem is I've had bad form in all of my craps for the last 16 years.
You never hit parallel on the toilet, so how the hell would you expect to do it in a squat?
Chuck will be like, what are you doing? I'll be like, I'm too cheap. I grabbed some cinder blocks from the the garage.
Working on my squat deck.
It's called multitasking.
Yeah, except for the problem is, you know what they say is that as you're practicing, you want to make sure your form's right. My luck, I'd practice my depth by doing the Squatty Potty thing, and every time I go to hit a depth squat, I'm going to about shit my pants on the platform.
Or you fall into the toilet.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude, I wish my ass was small enough to fall in a toilet. I mean, I would honestly enjoy it. Like,
I mean, they could leave a toilet seat up one time. It's dark. You could just like fall right in.
Yeah.
listen,
It's like a
nothing
black hole abyss down there.
nothing will make a woman move faster than in the middle of the night, her ass cheeks hitting a cold ass ceramic rim.
Oh
That's true.
my God, yes.
Can't say I've ever had that problem, but I can imagine.
And it's usually accompanied, because you don't want to wake the kids up, it's usually accompanied with a very angry shout whisper of profanity, like, fucking A. Like,
God damn it, Chuck.
Yes.
right?
I had 5 brothers growing up.
Oh
so,
my gosh.
Yeah, I experienced that.
Wait a
lot.
second. Is it official that we could say that you have 5 brothers and you're stronger than every one of them? Maybe?
Yeah.
So my little brother who's 20 is a freaking monster.
Oh, really?
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Is he like into powerlifting and stuff?
Kind of.
Yeah.
He does track and field.
Okay.
So he did like some powerlifting competitions in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But
So he throws in college?
yes, he did. Well, he's taking like the semester off, I think.
Uh-huh.
And then he's getting back into it. But yeah, he throws in college, and he just, imagine me,
Yeah.
but
With a penis.
Like Jason, looks
Just
like Lou Ferrigno, and 3 inches taller and probably 3 inches wider.
Really? Just a beast, huh?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
he sounds so huggable, though.
Yeah. That's
Is he one of
true.
those guys that looks mean, but he's really nice?
He's hysterical. Oh my gosh. He is the funniest dude you will ever meet.
That's awesome.
Don't tell Jay that. Yeah,
Jealous.
I know.
No, so that actually I wanted to ask, like, what did you do sports and stuff, like, growing up? Like, what kind of got you into the whole lifting scene? Or did you just, like, on a whim start lifting and you're like, damn, I'm pretty strong, I should do this?
So I did track in high school.
Mhm.
I was meh. I was okay.
Yeah.
I was really clumsy. So I grew really fast, and I was already like 5'8" by the time I was in middle school.
Okay.
And I was so klutzy.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and then I threw in college for an NAIA school.
Okay.
I was okay. I was introduced to weights then, but not like powerlifting weights.
Right.
We
It
weren't
was more
taught-
like for sports performance type stuff.
Yeah. We weren't taught proper technique or anything.
Yeah.
So I was like quarter squatting.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy to me, like, because I played Division II football, so, like, and I got to that level, and I totally expected, like, really good strength and conditioning, like coaching and like knowledge, and like I was surprised that even at that level it's just not really there, you know, like
Definitely.
and especially, I mean, it's few and far between. You're lucky if you get a good high school coach, and you're also lucky if you get a good college coach, which is strange. I mean, you think at least if they'd be at that level, then they'd know what the hell they're talking about, but for some reason it's just it's not there all the time.
Oh no. And we had so where we were such a small school, we had graduate assistants a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one the whole time we were there was strictly a throws coach.
Okay.
And so that was like I knew what to do. I did what I had to do. Like I was all conference once or twice, and
Okay.
I was okay.
Right.
But I was still that big, clumsy person.
Right.
Like it was hard for me. Like my feet didn't move properly. I
Yeah,
didn't
and
know
that-
what hip drive was.
That doesn't help when you don't have a like super knowledgeable coach that can be there to help you out through all that stuff too. So
Like they did the best they could,
Right.
but as someone who was struggling to catch on to this stuff, it was hard for me.
yeah.
And then in 2013 is when I started chiropractic school. One of my classmates, she was actually powerlifting and she started at school.
Mm-hmm.
And it took, when was it? I started in the summer, and the fall quarter in October, I had my first like powerlifting intro class.
Okay.
I started with a PVC pipe.
Oh yeah.
And I was so freaking sore. Like so sore.
That's crazy. Just to see like where you're at now, you know, and then that's insane to think about.
Well, I had no proper technique, but from that first day, and then a month later we tested maxes, and I squatted 310, benched 185, and pulled 385. So it was like, okay.
Yeah, that's a little bit more than a PVC pipe.
Yeah. And I was like, this is fun. So
well, and it's fun.
Let me sign up for my first competition.
Right. And it's fun doing something that you're good at too, you know? Like it's just like that's just enjoyable. If you have like a knack for something, then it's like, yeah, it's kind of fun because I'm better than people.
I wouldn't say a knack, but I don't like to quit.
Okay.
And I work hard, and this was so different. And honestly, the neuromuscular retraining that occurred, like after a year, I went back and I was like goofing around with my discus and my shot put and stuff. And my coordination had increased.
Oh, I bet.
So much.
Wow.
Like it was insane. I would have been such a better athlete if I had started like powerlifting back then.
Right. Dang.
You know, I was just having that conversation with someone yesterday about how different it is now with how we've learned how to move our bodies and how we've learned how to not show up at a doctor and need a surgery, not show up at a doctor and need to be pumped full of meds, whether it's the way we've figured out our form or whether it's the way we've figured out how to just move our bodies better. It makes me wonder where we're going to see the sport go, because we just keep getting better and better. And as a powerlifter who started at the age of 37, God, I'm old now. I just turned 39. But as someone who started that late in life, I mean, I looked for something for years that fit me and that I liked and that made sense. And I had always been more of a free weight girl, you know, hit up the Nautilus equipment, you know. And finding powerlifting, it was just such a great knack. And again, I wish I had known about it forever ago, because it'd be amazing to see how different my body would be right now. And my mobility would be right now if I had had this sport 10 years ago.
Well, and that's the thing too about just this sport growing, because the talent pool is growing, and then also just the people that have like maybe like you, Brooke, where you never had heard of it, so you had no idea even what it was. People are hearing about it now earlier, and they're like, hey, I'm going to give that a shot. So that's why I think too is like these next 5 to like 10 years, we're going to see just stupid freaks come through the ranks that maybe would have never even thought about doing powerlifting before, just because.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, just because that talent pool is getting bigger, and, you know, and I mean, we got to thank CrossFit and stuff like that for that. But I mean, regardless, I think we're just kind of on the cutting edge of like limits and records and stuff like that. Like in 5 years, I think the limits are going to be so much greater than what we're seeing even today.
Oh, I agree completely. Just think how it's progressed just the last 5 years alone. And now more high school students are becoming aware of it. And all these natural great athletes, you're going to see a lot of crossover.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like the biggest thing I know, for at least for males, it seems like a lot of former like football players, and then for females, it seems like a lot of former track and field athletes are getting into it. But
I see that a lot.
Yeah, and then
I think it has something to do with the track and field athletes, because if you think about it, it's more of the fast twitch muscle users are the ones going into powerlifting, and that's their niche.
Yeah,
you don't see a lot of like long distance runners, although there are some. There's always outliers, but you see a lot of the fast twitch muscle users getting into powerlifting and excelling.
Right. It just fits. Yeah, it fits their strengths a little bit better. And it also, as far as track and field goes too, I mean, it's that individual sport that require. I mean, it's basically you get out what you put into it too. So they're used to that kind of independence that's needed in the sport as well.
Oh, definitely. It's not strictly team based.
Right. Right.
Well, and I think what's really cool too about the expansion is that I have yet to meet anyone, and I'm sure there's a few out there, but I've yet to meet anyone who isn't completely welcoming of come and learn, come and see what this is like, whether it's come and learn how to help at a meet or come and learn how, you know, we've always talked about how, you know, those who can't teach blah, 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 you know, like someone's a great coach, they may not be a great athlete and vice versa. There is literally a plethora of everybody right now that I'm seeing in this sport as it's expanding. And whether you want to be involved and maybe you aren't great at the big three, but you fall in love with the sport, there are places for people throughout this. And now, you know, one of the things I think, Becky, that's really interesting about you is that you just went back to doing full power raw meets. Like you just did your first full power raw, but you have been doing the equipped lifting for a while, which is kind of that redheaded stepchild a little bit that, no pun intended, by the way, Miss Redheaded Becky, but it's kind of that untapped kind of really, from what I'm hearing, fun area of powerlifting.
Yeah. So equipped is weird because equipped was like around first. Like,
yes, it was.
And then
the start of powerlifting.
Yeah, equipped is what basically started powerlifting, and then it shifted recently, like in this past 5 years, into raw has just blown up, and people, you know, I think raw is just like easier for people. It's easier area of entry, but
oh yeah, because people get started with raw powerlifting. Because if you think about it, CrossFit is a segue into raw powerlifting.
For sure.
And so when CrossFit became more popular, you get people going into powerlifting because they're like, oh, I really like to squat, or I really like to bench, or even deadlift.
But I don't like these freaking ring muscle ups shit. So
I don't like to do these metcons or burpees. This stuff is bull crap.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I have athletes who started in CrossFit, and then but. Since raw powerlifting has gotten so big, people only see raw powerlifting, and then like equipped is kind of off to the side, and people don't really understand it, and there's not a ton of like promotion, I don't think, and there's not a ton of education on what's actually happening. So,
and I think that's an issue right now is because so many equipped powerlifters just get shit because they're an equipped lifter.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, you don't lift raw, well, poo on you, you can't join our cool kids club.
And I don't understand it.
It's ridiculous.
I don't understand. I think it's just the people's lack of ability to relate to it, so they kind of cast it to the side just because they've never done it or been involved in it. So instead of them just trying to learn about it and like get the history of it, they're just like, nah, that's not what I do, so I don't care about it, type of thing.
Yeah, and then they're always like, well, it's equipped, it's cheating, it doesn't really count.
Yeah.
Fake strength, blah, blah, blah. No, guys, I train raw unless I'm in meet prep. I always train raw. And then when I'm in meet prep, I get into my gear once a week, and that's it.
Yep. And I think that's a big misconception is people think that equipped lifters just train equipped all the time. But
no,
you're not going to get strong equipped if you don't train raw. Like, that's your base.
Exactly.
So, and
although the equipped lifting has made me a more technical lifter.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have your technique down,
the room for error in equipped lifting is so small.
Oh my gosh.
It's so small.
I could lose a squat. I could destroy my face with a bench press.
Yep.
Let's not even think about what that would do to my teeth.
Yeah, that might do a little worse than.
Yes, completely destroy my teeth.
Yeah.
Like the easiest one, honestly, is to deadlift equipped. That has the least risk of injury, but it's still hard because you still have to get over the discomfort, pull yourself to the bar, keep your back tight. Like you see a lot of equipped lifters who can't maintain a good neutral spine. They have to cat back it.
Yep.
because it's too hard for them.
Yeah. And I think, so I originally got into powerlifting back when multiply stuff was giant. So like the untested multiply, all these juice heads, like just going nuts, throwing as much weight on the bar as they could possibly handle. So that's how I first got exposed to powerlifting. And my older brother he wanted to powerlift, and that was basically the only avenue that you could take because that was what was big at the time. So he was always getting frustrated because he was stronger than these guys raw. Don't mind the puppers in the background.
This is why you don't wear meat underwear during a podcast, Becky.
No, but
dude, someone's at the door. They're about to ask if have you met Jesus?
Have you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior?
I'd like to accept him today.
No, but anyway, he would always get frustrated, and multiply is much different than single ply, but he was stronger than all these guys he trained with raw, but then the second they put on gear, they were able to afford better gear, so then they would just, run circles around him in the weight room after that. So
possibly, but you also got to think, so up until I qualified for the national team, all of my gear was hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
It's not just
he started in a denim shirt and all that.
He also probably had more time to learn it.
Right.
Because there's a huge learning curve, and because honestly, everything I wear, even at Worlds this year, nothing was brand new.
Right.
Because I didn't like the new stuff. I wore all of my old stuff. But where I had learned to work with my gear and I had developed greater raw strength, I was still able to podium and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
super tight stuff.
Right. And that's kind of the discrepancy between like your skill level with that gear and then also just the tightest shit possible that you can squeeze into and trying to get the most out of it.
And you see a lot of people doing that too because they think it's got to be tighter.
Right. Tighter's better.
Tighter equals for weight.
Yep.
Not always.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I just think personally, for whatever reason, the more I'm around equipped lifters, like it interests me a little bit more. Like it's weird because I was around it originally when I first got into it, and then now like the single ply stuff is I'm being around it a little bit more. But it's like, especially in the bench press, the equipped bench press is like almost a totally different lift than the raw bench press. Like if you look, at least from my point of view, like the technique and everything, it looks different.
It depends on, honestly, the lifter, because in a shirt, you want to have max grip, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So for me, that's not different because I automatically, like, I bench max grip. I'm tall. I have long arms.
Right.
So
you're already out there.
Yes. And then I think the biggest thing you see is the elbow positioning, because when you're in a shirt, you want to keep your elbows tucked, because if you let them flare at all, you're not going to be able to press that weight out.
Yeah.
But that's a way I naturally bench anyway, because that's something I've been taught. So I think it's who taught you and like how you actually bench, because some people like Jen Thompson, she has more elbows out when she benches.
A super flared.
Yes, super flare, and that works for her.
Right.
Where me, I keep them super tucked, and if I flare too early, like that bench is getting stuck on my chest.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no way I'm going to lock it out.
Yeah.
So it can be different. I think the biggest difference is the weight being used and the patience you have to have.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting with the shirt to get it to touch your chest, while you're also fighting with the shirt to keep your elbows in. And you're also thinking, okay, don't lose my tightness. my head's not going to pop off. It feels like it is,
right?
but it's not going to pop off. And then wait for that press command, because you're also trying to control the weight on your chest, and it's like bobbling everywhere.
There's just so much more shit going on.
Oh
like,
my God,
it's just much more complicated. It's not like, because I mean, like for me, it gets to the point where I don't even really need to think about anything when you're just like squatting. Like it's just down and up. Like it's so automatic. But I feel like especially in the equipped bench press, like there's a ton going on, because you're almost like, for one, you're got this weight above your face that could potentially kill you, and you're pulling against the shirt, like you said. All this stuff is going on, and like and I remember, so I've watched some of Blaine Sumner's stuff, and one thing that he said that I totally understand, he's like, the reason that I love equipped powerlifting, he's like, there's no bigger rush than having a stupid amount of weight over your face, and either you lift it or it falls. You know what I mean? Like there's
definitely.
no, like that's just, it's like fight or flight pretty much. It's like, I got to figure out a way to get out of this without dying.
It is such an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it's honestly, it's more mentally taxing than raw lifting too.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
I love it though.
Yeah.
Because it's just cool to stand there. So my best raw bench press now is 281.
Mm-hmm.
And at Worlds, I benched 402. And that's like huge. Because if you think about it, you're holding 402 pounds in your hands.
Yeah.
And you are literally holding that, and you have to lock that out with your own triceps.
Yep.
And so it's just, you get that lift. Well, I didn't get it. I was red lighted because my head came up. But I still locked it out.
Yeah.
But when you lock it out, it's just incredible, because you're like, damn, I
made
just
it.
did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't die.
Yeah. That's.
How great of a mindset was that, though? A massive lift. You still got red lighted, but you didn't walk away going, fuck this. I got red lighted.
Right.
It was literally like,
I didn't die, so that's a positive.
Right?
It was like, I got it off my chest. Like, I pressed it. And now I just got to work on little technique things.
Right. You know, the strength is there, the technique's there, other than you just got to keep that head down and shit like that. The little stuff.
And that's another thing that a shirt changes. The shirt, depending on its placement, like on your chest, because some people pull them down low, some people wear them up high.
Yeah.
It's going to pull on your musculature, and as you're bringing the bar down, your head comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's something you have to fight that too.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like the position of the shirt is huge, and like getting someone into a shirt is like equipped lifting. You cannot do it alone. Like.
No,
unless
not at all.
there's almost no way, unless your equipment's super loose. But if your equipment is fitting you right, there's no way you can do it by yourself. And
oh gosh, no. The shirt is probably the hardest thing to get set, because you have to get it set in your triceps, you have to get it set in your armpit, over your deltoids, and then you have to get it set in the front.
Yep. Yeah.
It'll take a good 4 or 5 warm-ups before it starts to feel like, oh, this is normal now.
Right. And depending, I'm assuming, like I said, I've never done this, so I don't really know either, but like depending on how you bench, then you're gonna want the shirt sitting a different way than maybe someone else. Like you said, some people wear them high, some people wear them low, and then on the shirts, can you get do you get like the sleeves a specific measurement? Like, do you have specific measurements like around the whole thing, or is it like a one size type thing?
So if you get a custom shirt, it would be custom made for your measurements, but I'm not bougie, so I use the hand-me-downs or the ones that are the stock shirts that are sent to me. Right. And pretty much it goes off of the circumference around your chest, which it can be hit or miss. So my shirt last year, it was actually a hand-me-down, and then I altered it to fit myself. So I have a sewing machine, and then after a training session, I'll be like, okay, my sleeves are a little loose. I'm gonna take them in a little bit, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you kind of custom did it yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do that with my squat suit and my deadlift suit.
Okay. That's interesting. That's cool though. I mean, that because who's gonna do it better than you when you're just gonna be like, get home from the gym and like, okay, well, I know I need to change this. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like a deadlift suit is like this black abyss of what the fuck does it actually do? Like, for reals, like I think to myself, like bench, I get it. You totally get it. Like you've got that spring back, and I don't get, like, for someone who is totally a noob, what do you get out of like where's the push, the pull, the squeeze? Like where are things that you would need to make that happen for a deadlift?
And now, before you say it, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the deadlift suit is you get the least out of the three. Like you get the least out of the deadlift suit. Okay.
Correct. You're lucky. 20, 30 pounds, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
But then again, I also don't know because I haven't pushed my raw sumo deadlift. So
yeah.
Who knows where that is?
Does it just help the spring up kind of a thing? Like after you've gone down, or
the suit is tight around your hips and your legs, and you get the most carryover with a sumo versus conventional. So that's why you see a lot of equipped lifters lifting sumo, and it helps you with that pop off the floor. So if you watch, it's hard to get to the bar and set up because we're fighting with the tightness in our hips. So once we get it off the floor, then the lifter's body takes over the rest of the lift.
Yeah. So think about it this way. So like in a squat, it helps a ton because you're already receiving the weight while you're standing straight up, and you can use the tightness of the suit with the weight pushing you down. With the deadlift, you have to get yourself down there in the starting position, which is fighting against the suit itself.
Right. Yeah, you have to literally pull yourself down to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that creates tension, and that also you're pulling yourself down and you're pulling against the bar, and that pulls the slack out of the bar. And so like if you watch when I deadlift, I dip. And so when I dip down into it, I'm pulling the slack out, and I'm also breaking the floor.
Yeah, you're almost using, it's like a stretch reflex is basically what you're
exactly.
doing.
That's what it is. And so that's what the suit helps. And for my raw training, I do deficit deadlifts every week. I do 3 variations of deadlift. I do a normal sumo, I do an equipped sumo, and then I do deficit deadlifts because that helps the pull off the floor, which if you didn't train that, your raw sumo would be slower off the floor because you're used to training in a suit, which helps you off the floor.
Right. That makes,
And then it also elongates the pull, so it makes me
work a little harder.
It makes me a more patient lifter at the top.
Yeah, for sure. I just freaking did deadlifts today, and I was getting pissed because my freaking lockouts were soft. Like I look back at the video and I'm like, God damn it, just spend a little bit more time, squeeze them glutes at the top.
Do deficit deadlifts, you'll see a huge difference.
Really?
Yes, I used to hitch the shit out of my conventionals. Oh my God. So, okay, we'll go back to raw powerlifting for a minute. When I first started lifting raw, I was pretty good for a super heavyweight. Like my first Arnold, went there, tried to pull a new world record, hitched it.
Yeah.
And got invited to NAPFs, tried to pull a new world record, hitched it.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't get my lockout.
Yeah.
I was so strong off the floor, but once it was the last 2 inches, glutes couldn't work, and I just hitched it every single time. Now she has a booty.
Yeah.
What did Jay just say?
Jay was like, now she has a booty.
Yeah, well, share your booty secrets with me because my booty's been failing me miserably. I got a lot of it. It's just not doing anything.
Glute, as much, okay, people give glute activation work crap, but
because it's Fitspo stuff, right?
Okay, whatever. But I'm gonna tell you, I do glute activation work anytime. Like before every squat session, every deadlift session, I'm doing banded walks. I'm doing banded glute bridges.
Yep.
I'm doing dead bugs. I do planks because if you think about it, your primary movers are your glutes, and then you have to have a strong but working core to stabilize your spine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so
I saw you in the back there of the Arnold doing your dead bugs sitting there on the platform.
Yeah,
there's no shame there.
I have to do them.
Yeah. Speaking of the Arnold, let's
talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah, seriously. I can't believe it took us this long to talk about this
right?
crap.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of witnessing in person BECCI pull the heaviest deadlift ever on that stage. And it was 585, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
265.5 kilos.
So now, is that a PR? I hope.
That's definitely a PR.
And then it was also a world record?
Not yet.
Not yet? So
the world record is what is it? 271. So it's 597,
okay.
And I actually attempted 597 and a half at Worlds, but it got to my knees and I just ran out of gas.
Well, looking at the way that freaking 585 looked, they almost should have just gave you a fourth attempt and just been like, see what you can do here.
YOLO.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, so
it was a nice confidence booster.
Yeah, no, that was ridiculously fun to watch. And for me, who I didn't really know you or was exposed to your lifting or anything, I was like, okay, who the F is this? And why is she pulling so much goddamn weight?
Deadlift's my jam.
Yeah, obviously. So just give us a little recap on like your training going into it, and then because you only did you just do the deadlift only, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So talk about your training going into and like how training for a deadlift only meet, like if it differs at all for you for training at all.
Honestly, training for the pro deadlift was it wasn't my priority.
Well, didn't you just come off your first raw full power? Like you were only a couple weeks out of your first raw full power.
Yes. So that was I decided it was like the end of December that I was going to do the Georgia State Championships, which I competed February 10th. So I had from January 1st to February 10th to train for that. And that was my goal. And training for that made my deadlift considerably better, because I think I only got into my suit maybe 3-4 times before the Arnold.
Okay. So it was just primarily raw work. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that
because like you said, it wasn't like a huge, you were more focused on the raw meat than necessarily the pro raw deadlift.
Oh yeah. And then I got sick actually. Was it the week? Yeah, the week before I was supposed to take my last heavy deadlift, I came down with the flu and I was dead. And
that's
so
not a good
I went
time
in
for that too. Just like not even for like training, but more for confidence level going into the meet.
And so I didn't even train at all that week. I went in, did my last heavy deadlifts. I think I worked up to like 540 and then called it and took a deload. And
dang. So you were kind of like going in blind, right? Like you didn't really know. I mean, you knew, but like having not hit, a huge like last heavy deadlift or whatever, not feeling your best.
So I'll tell you a secret. I never deadlift heavy. So I usually end up pulling between 25 to 40 pounds less on my last training day than I will in competition.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. I usually pull a ton more on the platform than I ever touch in the gym.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to pull all of these heavy ass weights and overshoot my RPE or my percentage just for the hell of it. I mean, who cares if I get likes on Instagram or whatever reposted when I can't do it where it counts, like on the platform.
Exactly.
And so that's the biggest thing that I've learned, is to adhere to my training.
Absolutely.
Well, and that ties into also, I want to say it was when we had Scott Sullivan on the show too. We're not doing meets every 6 weeks. You're lucky if you can get 2, maybe 3 good meets in a year. So that makes total sense to the fact that you got to save that part of you, because Scott had talked about it in one of the previous podcasts about how when he was first starting, how he was Mr. Massive Volume and balls to the wall, and then he would show up at a meet and he would just gas out.
Underperform super big. And so Ed Cohn said this, and I totally agree with it, is he said you only have a certain amount of those all out grinding 1 reps, like just in your bank account. Like there's, you don't want to go and withdraw that a ton, because there's a finite amount in there. And I totally agree with that, just because of the damage that your body sustains, especially from a deadlift. So here's another question. How far out do you take that last heavy deadlift? Is it a week out? I know, like, I take mine 2 weeks out, and then I'll take like a lighter one a week out. How do you do it?
Oh, I go 2 weeks out. Honestly, it's 2 weeks out for everything now. So my coach James, we do our last heavy lifts 2 weeks out, and then we hit roughly openers the week before, and then we just
that's exactly what I do.
Deload. Although he doesn't give me as drastic of a deload as I've had in the past, especially with my bench press. So because my bench has progressed so much, and I respond well to a higher frequency and a higher percentage, we drop the percent down maybe 5 to 10. So I'm still hitting like 80% meet week. Right. But that's just my body responds well to it.
Exactly. Yeah, I do a very similar thing where like 2 weeks out I'll hit where like around where I want my second attempts ish to be, like just kind of that ballpark, and then and then the week out I'll hit openers kind of around there too. And
it also continue, sorry.
I was gonna say and that's what a lot of people, and for my athletes I've found too, that for one, bench doesn't destroy your body as much as like a heavy squat or deadlift, so you can kind of get away with keeping that intensity and volume in a little bit closer to the meet, because you know that it's going to recover a little bit faster than the other two. So
definitely. And also when you take those heavy weights 2 weeks out, that allows your body and your CNS to recover, because you have to think about it. If you're doing heavy lifts frequently, your CNS cannot recover, your adrenal glands can't recover, and your body breaks down even faster because of that.
Yeah, for sure. You want to you want to push it without, really destroying, like going over the line. And that's one thing I talk about a lot is, the submaximal work. And like for me, all of my PRs basically are on the platform. Like I only really max out twice a year. Like I'm never like hitting a true max. It's only like twice a year. And I don't, unless I'm in a meet or something like that. And even some meets I don't even go that far, depending on the circumstance. So like, for example, I have a meet that I'm training for in June, but then there's the nationals in October. So, and I'm coming off of injuries. So in June, I'm, totally okay with my third attempts being, having even 5-10 kilos left in the tank, because if that's going to, one, reduce my risk of injuries and then allow me to continue training into nationals with less time off, it doesn't even though you're in a meet, it doesn't mean you need to freaking max out, and then let alone in training.
Exactly. Like my raw meet, I think the only lift that was, I wouldn't even say it was hard, but it slowed down, was my bench press.
And
but
again,
I also
the bench press slowing down, like that's not a huge deal.
Oh no, but this was also a what was my previous best bench press was 239-ish in competition.
And you hit
raw,
what?
And then I benched 281.
Oh my Jesus. Yeah, it's okay to struggle on a freaking 50-pound PR. Yeah, I think that's fine, Becky.
Like I opened with whatever it is in kilos. It was either I opened with 254 or 256, which was automatically a meet PR, and then went to
it's gonna be a good day when you open with a meet PR.
Yeah,
it's like
that's just how much my bench has progressed by increasing frequency alone.
Yeah. So how many days days a week do you bench now?
Between 4 and 5.
Yeah. That's what I mean. A lot of the top lifters, they do bench that often, and that's because you get to a certain point where you're just not really seeing the progress anymore, and the only way to, you just got to increase the volume and the amount of training that you're doing.
And I also think my equip training carried over a lot to my raw bench because I'm doing overload training every single week.
Oh yeah, so you know what that weight feels like. You're like, oh, this is, I've had
my
400
CNS
pounds.
has adapted to it. My joints have adapted to it. Even my triceps, they know what it's like to lock out heavier weights.
Right. So you get that thing off your chest, and it's over.
Which that's why I bench a lot, to build up my pec strength. And then I also do my accessory work is very specific. I don't just do accessories just because, oh, this looks cool, let's do this.
Right.
No, I do it because I need to really work on my weak points.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's what people should be doing their accessories for, is it should be like specific for you and what your weak points are.
Exactly.
So first of all, what are you planning for your next meet? And then is it going to be equipped or raw? Because you're kind of dipping your toes back in this raw game.
So my raw meet was honestly just for fun. It was for fun, and also because I wanted to do a 3-lift meet before nationals, but I didn't want to do it. So I was invited to do the Pro American and the Grand Prix at the Arnold equipped.
Okay.
I declined those because that's in March, and then Open Nationals is in May.
Yeah.
And I personally felt like that's a crazy turnover.
Plus just doing that raw meet too. That's quick.
But the raw was a better option because it didn't fatigue me as much. I was lifting 2 days later.
Right.
Like I barely had any DOMs because I'm so used to training raw that it was another Saturday for me.
Well, and people don't understand either, like when you do the equipped lifting, like you said, your CNS is taking such more of a beating because the weights are so much heavier. Mm-hmm. So it takes longer to recover from a 3-lift equipped meet than, like you said, the raw one you were lifting 2 days later. So I totally understand that.
But yeah, so my next one is going to be Open Nationals in May.
And where is it? That's in
Chicago.
Okay, that's the same. Is it the same place as raw, I'm assuming?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
They usually are.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do that, and then if all goes well, I'll go to Worlds in November in Dubai.
Dubai? You guys get to go to Dubai?
Dude, that would be awesome.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, I might become an equip lifter.
I know. It's bad enough I'm trying to talk her into going to Raw Nationals, and her boyfriend Jay, who does a lot of her handling, especially because, as she's mentioned, she can't get into the suit by herself. He's like, no, she's not allowed to travel. It's too close to Worlds. And I'm like, calm down. She can come and hang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
and
that's
honestly,
sick.
I'm going to stick with equipped because, let's be real, if you get first or second at Raw Nationals, you're not going anywhere.
No. Yeah.
You get an invite to do the Arnold, and I mean, the Arnold's fun and all, but I can get second place at Open Nationals and I can go travel. I've already been to the Czech Republic. I've been to Sweden.
Yeah.
I had never been out of the US until then.
Right.
So
that's true.
This has been cool.
An awesome, it's crazy that the sports can pull you around the world like that. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the totals for nationals changed this last year, and I remember talking to you, Cole, about the fact that the equipped numbers didn't change as much because the pool of equipped lifters is so much smaller right now. So,
oh my gosh, it's so small.
Which I think one would think that it'd be growing because the amount of people in powerlifting has been growing, but I don't really see the carryover as much as I thought I would have, I guess.
There's just so much stigma because there are raw people who are very, very
anti-equipped.
And it's just the stigma, how it's not real powerlifting, it's not real strength, blah, blah, blah. And so people don't venture out and check it out.
I have not met one person who tried equipped and didn't like it. Exactly,
because it's so much more challenging than raw lifting. It's more challenging mentally,
it brings
physically.
it brings in like just a whole nother aspect to the sport.
Well, yes, and it makes you such a better lifter.
Yeah.
My last bench meet that I was at, they actually did equipped, and like it was like balls to the wall when these people started coming out with their suits on.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was a bench only meet, but it was like someone had kicked in the deadlifts all of a sudden. Like the energy changed, and it was like it was badass. It really was.
The intensity goes way up. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, you can tell, and plus, the one thing I do like about equipped lifting is that it weeds out all the fucking weekend warriors. Like the people who like are in equipped lifting and like enjoy equipped lifting, like they actually are like power lifters.
Oh yeah, like, you have to enjoy it.
Well, the time dedication is another level too. Like an equipped session lasts a lot longer than people can get in and out of the gym in a raw session in an hour. Like people like people
can come out of a CrossFit box and decide to do a deadlift, squat, and a bench. You're not coming out of a CrossFit box and on a whim deciding you're going to go do an equipped meet. Yeah. You're just not.
No.
Like it's like you said, it's an intensity difference.
It's a different level of dedication. It's a different level of just time into the sport, which makes it. It's just I don't know. It's different, and like I said, the more I've kind of been exposed to it, the more it intrigues me.
Well, and it's a bigger investment too, because let's be real. I know you have a lot of hand-me-down suits and stuff, but to purchase the equipment you need for equipped is not inexpensive.
Oh no, it's so expensive. Yeah. That's why, I mean, honestly, that's why I use the hand-me-downs, because it is ridiculously expensive, and I really don't need brand new stuff.
Because you're not bougie.
Exactly. I'm not bougie, and I'm doing just fine.
I was going to say, yeah, what you're doing probably is just fine, obviously. Yeah. You're not doing too bad.
I would like to go back to something that you mentioned earlier when we were talking about how you got your start and how you were talking about how, you were in track and how you were a little bit clumsy. I just think it's just kind of funny how we go from, 585, deadlift pull, biggest pull ever on the Arnold stage. And the next thing I know, Pretty Strong Beck looks like Lloyd fucking Christmas on Instagram. What the fuck happened? You literally blew a tooth out in the gym. What happened?
Okay. I was carrying stuff back. I had picked up a whole bunch of stuff that people had left out. My hands were full. I rolled my ankle on something. I rolled my ankle, and
I'm sorry, but I don't think there's nothing much funnier than watching someone roll their ankle.
Bless. The fact that you were sport enough, though, to literally go look up the security footage at the gym and send it to me. We're all standing. We were in the middle of a big team lift, and here's 4 of us standing around my phone, and here you come, and you're carrying all this stuff, and all of a sudden, the whole crew just goes, oh, Like you didn't just kind of fall. Like you.
I fell.
Yeah.
So
and
yeah,
then
you fell and then you smashed your face on something and broke your tooth.
No, so everything in my hands, something flew out of my hands and into my mouth as I was falling because I felt my tooth breaking and flying out of my mouth.
I'm gonna pee my pants.
And that I was on the ground and I was hysterical, crying, my tooth, like covering up my face, like it's gone, like my tooth is gone, and I'm just like bawling my eyes out because this is my biggest fear, is breaking a tooth.
Oh my gosh.
And
like the whole sequence of events is.
Here's the deal. We are putting this video on our Instagram because people need to go see this.
Oh, yeah.
But what blows my fucking mind is Captain Burpees in the background. You have catastrophically, literally just exploded onto the floor. Everyone's around you like a 5-alarm fire. And here's this dude still
Just
doing his burpees.
He's either a dick because he doesn't give a shit, or he's so dedicated to his workout.
Who is that dedicated to burpees, though?
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, for
I'd
real.
look for any excuse to stop burpees.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my grandmother died. I can't do these.
Did she die like 5 years ago? Yeah, I'm still
wearing
mourning.
the wrong underwear. I can't do burps today. Thanks. Yeah.
I had Taco Bell last night. I can't do these.
Oh God. But yeah, it was, the good news is you got into the dentist, they fixed it. And then it was kind of hilarious. Like I've been kind of watching the chain of events and it was funny because then it was like, oh my gosh, because I'm sure obviously it hurt. And
Oh
then
my God, it hurt.
Well, that was the first thing. I felt really bad laughing right away, and then I'm like, Brooke, is she okay?
But then I could hear you laughing at it in the background too, and I was like, yeah, she's fine. But then it was 2 days of, so I think I'm gonna need to get a mouth guard. And the worst part is I'm thinking, is she gonna wear it when she lifts or when she's walking? I'm not sure which one.
I don't need to be in a bubble.
Both.
Yeah, Becky's a total badass, pulls 585.
And then blows a tooth.
Walking.
Well, and it was that goddamn resistance band that did it. You ended up stepping on the handle of the resistance band and it went wink, wink, and you were toast.
Yeah,
like,
fuck those things.
fucking resistance. That's what you get for doing all those glutes.
No, that's what I get for cleaning up after people.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, this is where you, anytime, if I was you and was walking through that gym later, anyone I saw using that band, I'd be like, fuck that guy and fuck that guy. Hey, you, fuck you. Like,
So I've been
Pick
like
up your shit.
extra salty at night when I have to go clean up after people.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just,
Well, next time, just take 2 trips.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to Rachel Ray it.
everything contained. Am I going to trip on anything?
Jay's gonna put you in a rascal and make you like roam around in one of those. Eat me.
Poor Jay. I called him, like, I was unconsolable, hysterical. And I called him, I was like, it's an emergency! I broke my tooth. And the poor guy got out of work early in a drive that should have taken like an hour and 20 minutes. He got there in 35.
Dang, Jay with the pedal to the metal.
He's so worried about me.
He's so
What a
good
good
to you
guy.
though. Like I remember I texted him. I knew he was handling you at the Arnold and I knew it was super early. And so I texted him
And
to
I
say,
was freaking out
Yeah.
because I left my belt.
yeah, you didn't know this, did
No,
you?
I didn't.
Yeah, at the Arnold, she forgot some of her equipment at the Airbnb. And so I had texted Jay early that morning
What a
just
rookie
to say,
move, though.
yeah, what the hell?
Seriously.
This is not the worst. Do you want to know the worst thing I've done? My very first Worlds.
Uh-huh.
I get there.
You're
weigh
at
in.
Worlds, like the pinnacle.
At Worlds. Yes, at Worlds, where I've worked my ass off
Yep.
for months. I get there, check in, weigh in, get my stuff for equipment check, and I realize I didn't have my fucking squat suit.
Oh.
God.
I had my backup that I wore once.
Oh, no.
Didn't have the squat suit that I've worn the whole entire training cycle.
Like you didn't have it, period? Like it wasn't.
I left it at home.
Oh no.
In the US, and I was in the Czech Republic.
And you're literally at equipment check, so there's like nothing you can do. How?
No, so I had to. It was
Oh,
terrible.
Man.
I didn't get any of my squats, so let's just say that was the worst meet of my life.
Wow.
Because I was like, well, no one can see it, but I was like right at depth, and I couldn't get it because my squat suit was so stiff.
Yeah, because you never wore it.
Oh my God, I just had an epiphany. I know why I'm not hitting depth in my squats. It's because I wear Spanx every single time I lift. That's what it is. Shit, I gotta start free bunsing it when I go into the gym now. Like,
Yeah, I don't want you to send me videos anymore.
why does everything look a little extra jiggly this week? I'm so sorry. I got rid of my compression gear.
So I can get 3 white lights.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, you left your belt. This is at the Arnold. You left your belt in your room? Or?
No, Airbnb.
Oh.
Airbnb. It was actually in the trunk of the car because, okay, so fun fact, when I put on my deadlift suit, it rearranges my fat, so my normal belt doesn't fit me.
So you have another belt that you...
So I have my fat belt that I only wear when I deadlift.
See, these are keys that these are big knowledge bombs that people are learning.
Oh, for sure.
Right now. Seriously.
But the best knowledge bomb was he went all the way back to the Airbnb to discover it was in the trunk of the car the whole time.
Oh my God.
No, we took an Uber that morning.
Oh.
Because we didn't want to find parking, and I left my baby powder in the Uber.
Jesus Christ. You need to get your shit together, Becky. Holy cow.
Jay checked my bag before Worlds this year, made sure I had everything packed.
Wow.
I just left my belt. And honestly, I could have pulled that without my belt because my pink belt is just latched on, but I can move it up and down. It was like doing nothing other than it was my emotional support. Nothing for me.
Oh my gosh. Your pink emotional
support belt. That is the best thing I've heard all day.
So loose because if I tighten it, it's just way too tight. I want to get to the bar. Oh God.
Dang. 585
Seriously?
beltless.
When it's too tight and you try whatevs. I mean NBD. It's no big deal.
It's too tight because I have a freaking long ass torso.
Dude, there's nothing worse than it being so incredibly tight. Like, I've had times where I forget to undo my belt in between sets, and I'll bend over to pick up my phone, and I'm like, I'm gonna throw up. Like, it's so bad. Like, and I don't have a lever belt to do like the badass flick when I'm done, so I have to go over and like hang like a goddamn monkey off the rack just to get my belt back off again.
I mean, that's what I have to do to get into my deadlift suit. So
yeah, they literally do hang.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yep, the old hang and shimmy.
Do you get to at least baby powder the inside of that so you can shimmy in? Or
Nope.
No, because then it would slide up way too much.
Oh yeah.
And on top of the super awkward, painful camel toe, it then digs into your fat rolls, and you get like really bad chub rub, and it's just. You have to have.
I have to try this at least once.
Yeah, yeah.
It was funny because Becky, you were like, "I'll send you one of my shirts, like one of my bench shirts," and then we realized that even though we are almost exact height, I think we are the same height.
Way bigger.
We are. Yeah, I have way bigger boobs, and so I looked at Cole, and he's like, "I go, hey, she thought about sending me a shirt. Like, what do you think?" And he just looked at me like. This is the most impossible thing that you've ever asked me to try to help you with.
Well,
like,
here's the thing, because I'm going to be the one helping you get into it.
Okay, no. The shirt, big boobs are okay. It smashes them down. The deadlift suit, where it's higher cut, I have to literally, like, pull my boob as he pulls my strap up, pull the other one, pull the strap up, just so we can get it up. Because it's not cut for someone with a long torso.
Yeah, that's true.
They never are.
It's terrible.
Oh.
You guys are mocking me, but wait until you have a camel toe from hell.
Oh, trust me. That's why I don't buy my workout pants at Walmart anymore. Seriously. I know. If you're over 5'7", be prepared that you're that's why I was so excited when you had told me about the girl leggings. And
Oh
I
my
bought
gosh,
my first
my
pair of them,
favorite.
and they actually are longer than they need to be. Like, I can pull them up to my boobs and not have a camel toe. It's
Okay, I can
brilliant.
pull up my belly button, but I can't go that high.
Well,
my boobs hang a little low. I'm getting old.
Say, boob location are different for everybody.
The masters lifters.
Super heavyweight for life. Okay.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. But, yeah, no, it's super exciting. So, and the even better part, we were talking about the expansion of the sport. We get to watch you lift at nationals because it's actually like on YouTube and shit now. The day that it ends up on ESPN 8 The Ocho, though, is the day that I will be like, fucking A, we made it.
The World Games.
World Games.
The World Games in 2021. I bet you it'll be on ESPN.
Yep. So
that's my long-term.
Oh my God.
Explain to people World Games, like the IOC and like the IPF and like the differences, I guess.
Okay, so the IOC is the International Olympic Committee.
Yep.
So every 4 years you have your normal Olympics, and then the off year you have the World Games.
Mm-hmm.
The World Games is for all of the odd sports that aren't in the Olympics.
Yeah, so they're not in the actual Olympics, but they still follow under the umbrella of the IOC,
yes,
correct?
Under the umbrella of the IOC, and they have to still qualify. You have to follow all of the IOC rules, and where the IPF is like compliant with the IOC because of all the drug testing and everything else. Anyone who lifts equipped they can potentially qualify for the World Games.
Right. And Raw is not in the IOC. Raw powerlifting is not.
Raw powerlifting is not in the World Games.
Not in the World Games.
Yes, because if you think about it, powerlifting started with equipped lifting.
Yep.
So that's why we're better.
Boom.
Oh my God.
Boom.
This is why I need to get a bench shirt.
Suck on that,
this
haters.
This is why you need to go get a bench shirt so you can go to the World Games.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I'll be the one who's like, we have her lifting with the junior lifters because even with a bench shirt on, she still has a poverty bench. But no, actually, you know what? For being a newbie, the bench is probably my favorite. Like when you said you were benching 4 days a week, I looked at Cole like, excellent. like it's my favorite lift, which is weird because, I compete at a local level. So the majority of the meets I go to, when it comes time for bench, you can literally hear the entire crew just go, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to bench, and I'm over there like, bring it. This is great.
That used to be me. I used to call it my nap between squat and deadlift. I hated benching, but now it's just like, it's love. It's love.
Yeah,
it was a forced love, but it's my favorite now.
So the World Games is basically the Olympics for the sports that aren't in the Olympics.
Correct.
So it's a huge stage.
Oh my gosh. Last time it was in Poland, I believe, and it does everything the Olympics do. It has the opening ceremonies, it has all of the sports, it's televised. It's a massive event.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2021, it's actually being held in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay, so that's perfect.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And 2020, in order to qualify, you need to compete at the 2020 Worlds. And then I don't know if it goes off Wilks or if it's going to go off IPF points or if it's going to go off total. I don't know. But they're going to take the best in the lightweight. It's like lightweight, middleweight, or lightweight, heavyweight, super heavyweight. And they take a certain amount of lifters per class. And then you compete against everyone. And then the person with the highest IPF points, they'll win.
Right. Yeah. So that's just kind of like another level of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's like worlds, but then like worlds.
On steroids.
Yeah. So
it's the Olympics.
Yeah, it is the Olympics.
It is.
So you brought it up, but I want to get your opinion on the new point system. What do you think of it? So for people who don't know, we like the USAPL and the IPF just switched from using the Wilks coefficient to kind of like basically what it does is it levels the playing field across all weight classes, and it's like a scoring system that takes into account your weight and whatever. So they changed from the Wilks and now it's to the IPF points, and it kind of flipped everything on its head. There's a lot of people,
lighter lifters.
yeah, so there's a lot of people, a lot of lighter lifters and a lot of heavier lifters, especially on the men's side, the heavier lifters that were like at the upper echelon of the Wilks score, and now the IPF score, they're not up there as high as they were anymore. So there was a lot of people, because the Arnold was the first big meet that actually used it.
Correct.
So there's a lot of people that weren't too happy about that.
Honestly, for me, it didn't really change much, because when you're a super, super, super heavyweight, it really doesn't matter.
Super duper.
Super duper duper. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Seriously, I had someone ask me at a meet once, why are you eating? It isn't even weigh-ins. I go, I would have to shit out an entire human to not be in my weight class. I think I'm fine with my eggs.
Yeah.
I could never drop a weight class. Just like DEXA alone, I'll still be 60 pounds over my weight class.
Yeah.
Thanks, being super dense. Throw me into a pool and I'll freaking...
Oh, I sink like a rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Swimming's never been my strong suit.
I may be fluffy, but I am very dense.
Yeah. So
Physically, not mentally.
Yes. Let's clarify.
but yeah,
that.
I guess that doesn't, I mean, for you, it doesn't make much of a difference. But I know, like, for me, like, I wasn't really, because what they say is that the Wilks kind of favored the people at the top end and people at the lower end. And like for me as a 105, like I was kind of like in the middle of like not really getting any benefit from it, but it was the only thing in like the only system there anyway, so there's not much I could do. And now, like, I guess I'm again in the middle where it doesn't really make a huge amount of difference for me either, but it's so different that like my point of reference of like good, not good, like what I should be shooting for or whatever, like I have no idea.
Yeah, see, mine really didn't change that much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still like, I don't know, wherever I am with the supers.
Right.
Because I don't know, my best Wilks is 445.
Mm-hmm.
Then my IPF points were, it was like 698 or something like that.
I was gonna say probably right around 700.
Yeah, it was super close, because I know, as crazy as this never happens. I was third place for best lifter, and I missed second place by like 2 points, which as a super heavyweight, that's hard to do.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's just gonna be interesting how, because there was one guy at the end of the Arnold who like literally went up to the judges and was like, just like not the judges but like the USAPL guys at the front. He's like, this is effed up. Like so and so should have won.
I remember when they first came out with it, and did you see all of the issues where the person with the highest Wilks was like this little toddler who had competed in a meet or something?
Yeah.
The IPF points.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think there'll ever be.
There's not going to be a perfect system, I don't think.
No, because you're trying to compare strength across all of the weight classes.
Yeah.
Which is hard when you have outliers, extreme outliers on each end. Like, unless you throw them out, but still.
Like, it was crazy. Ray Williams got third in IPF points.
I know.
And he has never, ever lost on Wilks. Like, his Wilks have been, like, 500 plus.
Yep.
If even more. I mean, so it was just interesting to see.
And then it kicked, like, Heather Connor out of the top.
Yep. Yeah, because like I said, I think the top end and the lower end are the people who kind of got flipped on their heads. Mm-hmm. But
I don't know. It really... I'm not... Personally, for me, I'm not chasing an IPF score because it doesn't really matter. What matters the total's gonna win. If you tie, yeah, that's something different.
Yeah,
but
and that's the biggest thing people, I mean, like at a meet like the Arnold or at these local open meets are the only meets that it's really going to matter. Like for the, for like nationals, worlds, like the actual big meets, it's just total. I mean, the total's going to tell the story. So, I mean, yeah, you might not get a cool best lifter trophy, but whatever. As long as you win your weight class. And that's why I do like stuff at the Arnold where they have absolute weight lifted and highest points. Yep. Because I know I can do a heavy weight, but I know I'm not going to have high points. And sorry, but at the end of the day, like lifting more fucking weight is way cooler anyway. Oh yeah. Like, and it doesn't matter what you weigh. Oh my gosh. I get so many trolls on Instagram who are like, oh, well, you just picked up your body weight. Yeah, fucking idiots. Or, you have to weigh at least 500 pounds, blah, 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 not impressive, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, guys, fat doesn't move the weight. like, I don't know if you know how this works, but... I don't know.
If fat moved the weight, I would have totally kicked your ass on the deadlift stage, okay? Seriously. Dude, my hips alone would have been like, hey, Becky, bounce. Yeah.
It's technically a disadvantage because you know how hard it is sometimes with a power belly.
Oh, seriously. To get into position and leverages and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Try squatting to depth with a shit ton of fat on your body. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. For reals, like I've never understood that why like I'm not looking to be skinny. I would like to be leaner and stronger. Like there's a big difference there. I'm not all about, you know, the bulk diet of just let's just, you know, some people will say, oh yeah, well mass moves mass. But
to a certain extent.
What kind of mass are we talking about?
Right.
But, exactly. To a certain extent. And then you also, I don't know. It's just a stupid argument from butthurt little men who can't handle the fact that a fat woman just lifted more than that.
Well, I don't understand why people just don't like, that's fucking impressive. I don't care who you are. Like, why can't you just acknowledge that? They're always, like you said, they're just butthurt. And it's so hilarious to me.
And it's just ridiculous how women get it more than men. Like Ray Williams, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
But you don't see
not at
trolls after him.
That's one thing that fucking pisses me off so bad is that like these like women who are literally the best powerlifters in the world still have these fucking guys who think that they can give them unsolicited advice in the comments. And it's like literally just because they're a woman. Like you don't see guys giving the best powerlifters, the best men powerlifters in the world any advice because they're like, well, they're the best. So, but it's not the same the other way around. And it's so infuriating to me.
I think they just don't know what the fuck to say. Like,
but
it's bro code.
Don't say
exactly. But at the same time,
don't say anything at all.
It's almost like they. How do I want to say this? They
like feel threatened by, I don't know. It's
well, and maybe they're thinking they're going to sound smart and it's going to develop a connection. I mean, because you've got the people who are thinking, hey, like. There are legitimate people who will think that they will comment on something on social media and that's going to be it. Like, man, like I'm going to slide into those DMs, whatever it might be. Let's be real. If you're a legitimately serious lifter and you're putting your stuff on Instagram, the last thing you're looking for is for some guy in Sheboygan to slide into your DMs.
Yeah, seriously.
Unless it's
Cole's like, note to self, don't move to Sheboygan.
Yeah, I'll never understand that. It's super frustrating to me just to see these fucking gym bros who think they know more for whatever reason or think it's okay to give unsolicited advice to people. It's like,
well, and it's not even just powerlifting. It's bodybuilding. It's strongman. Shit, it's anything that's relatively athletic that isn't thought worthy. Yeah. If you're up there with your fucking ass crack leggings, you know, with your ass straight pointed to the camera and you're thirsty as shit and looking for it. Okay, let's be real. But if you're legitimately putting up lifting videos and you're part of that community, when you see it's really sad too because some girls, there's so many young girls in the sport now that you don't realize how young some of these girls are and how impressionable they are and how
and
Instagram
how much this affects their self-esteem.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing.
And that's because when you're a young girl and if you don't fit into society's norm, you get shit anyway. And then you throw all of these internet trolls saying crap about you. Like, it just eats away at your soul.
Yeah.
And
I can't even imagine. Well, and especially
people just
the
need
thing,
to be nicer.
Yeah, that's
well,
very true.
did you guys see what Snapchat just did to Sarah Squats?
Oh, I saw it on there. The Battle of the Sexes thing.
It was bullshit. They first of all, they put up her big, huge lift that she got so much shit from all these dudes saying that was fake weight. That's bullshit.
And they put it against this little kid.
A little boy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was bullshit.
But if you think about it, a lot of the females, they put them against, like, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but they put Sarah against this little kid. They had another woman who was flipping a giant ass tire, but they put her against a disabled man.
Jesus Christ.
Why can't it be another king in the sport? Like,
wow.
Exactly.
Like, why couldn't it have been, let's think about some of the greats in this sport. Why couldn't it have been Sarah Squats and then all of a sudden a Taylor Atwood lift?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, two great lifts.
Or like another just impressive feat. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Well, and what they were doing is they were doing individual, like, powerlifting and skiing, or like it was like a male and a female of each. Why couldn't they just pick somebody else? But no, they literally picked like an 8-year-old boy doing a deadlift.
It only occurred with the strength-based videos in there too, because I watched all of it, and the strength-based videos is where there was the biggest difference between the people, like the little kid, the disabled man, that kind of thing.
that's crazy.
It's pretty bullshit.
How does someone let that fly? Like, why doesn't someone just say like, hey, you know, I don't think this looks very good. Like, maybe we should, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. And I feel bad. I mean, because Sarah always gets a lot of shit. I feel every time any of her videos gets reposted or anything, like I look at the comments and I'm like, God damn it. Like these people
I'm just glad that people don't repost anymore. My stuff.
Like people are so shitty.
Crap.
People are just shitty. But
you can't get positive feedback anymore.
No.
People have to put other people down just to feel better.
Sucks.
Well, and the sad thing is you get into that zone of not feeling great about it, so that when you do start to do certain things and you get that endorphin rush of the like and you start to get the positive, even if it's false positive, you get it's almost like a drug. You get sucked into that a little bit. And that's where you find these Insta famous, you know, where they do it for the gram. And it's really sad because, you know, I work in radio on the regular, and I see it happen with a lot of DJs who are really young in quote, the sport, where it happens. It all goes to their head. And, you know, it's just really, really sad. It's like they lose themselves.
It's all of a facade almost. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a fake. It's like you're trying to portray this life and it's not even you. And what's sad is like, I feel like most people can see right through that shit, but also not, because the people who do it are sometimes successful with it. But I feel like most people who are successful on social media and stuff are original themselves, and you know what I mean? They're not fake. But then, I mean, some people just are. If you got a fat ass and big tits, then you can get likes, you know?
I hate to say it, but yeah.
And Instagram just weighs way too much in society now. Like, I had to talk to one of my lifters because all he wanted was to get likes on Instagram, to get follows. He's like, got to get that 10K, got to get that 10K, got to get sponsors. But there's more to life than that.
Like, and if that's dictating your choices, like in the real world.
Exactly. And that's changing your programming, because I came to find out that he was YOLOing, and you can't do that. There's more to life than social media.
Well, and that's coming from you who just hit 10K. Let's be real. You have over 10,000 followers, and life didn't magically turn into Beverly Hills and a million endorsements and life changing.
I'm still working my ass off for everything.
Right?
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's such a small.
And guess what?
Thing.
Instagram doesn't give a shit. Rewind. The platform doesn't give a shit about Instagram.
No.
It doesn't.
No.
And that's something that we forget. Like, the platform doesn't care. You know when the platform cares? When you don't put the work in.
Yep.
How do I know that? I missed my third bench in my last meet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yep.
it's interesting. I mean, we obviously have social media to thank for fitness industry exploding and people getting more notoriety for doing these amazing feats of strength. But at the same
just
time,
for exposure and more people being aware of it.
For sure. It's almost, I mean, it's become a culture, you know, and it's cool being able to follow these people and see what they're doing and get motivated from them or learn from them. There's a lot of coaches out there who are on Instagram putting out some awesome information.
Oh, for sure.
And I mean, that's all positive, but there, you can definitely fall into a negative thing with, you know, if you're just doing things for the wrong reasons. That's why I think you have to look in the mirror and like, just, I don't know, just be aware of what you're doing and like.
Yeah. Well, I think the people who are more aware are the lifters who have been around a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And they realize that they don't need to do all this crap. Like, they're here, they're doing what they like to do. They don't care about the likes. Like,
and
they know what life is really about.
So I feel like the difference there is their Instagram or social media are successful because they are successful in their sport first and foremost. It's like
they're
the
not
Instagram
trying to be successful on Instagram.
Exactly.
First.
It's a byproduct of them doing their shit right in the sport or in their certain discipline. It's not the other way around.
And they post content that is worthwhile and meaningful. It's not just ass shots.
Yeah.
Or, hey, let me go see what I can do today off program and hit this big weight. And that bothers me the most because, like, I see it with people all the time, and it's just do it for the gram. But they don't realize how that's going to affect their performance in the long run, how it's going to increase their risk for injuries. Just be a normal person.
There's that flip side too, that they're so thirsty for the gram that they start to put themselves into compromising situations. I had a buddy of mine who's actually going to be a future guest on the cast too, who sent me a link today about a major supplement company that is going down in flames because of the fact in court, because of the fact that they were legitimately putting illegal substances in their products and deeming them to be just fine. And these are some big supplement names.
But I mean,
and they're also the kind of companies, right? But it's also the kind of companies that were always seeking for endorsers. Hey, we want you to be on the Instagram. We want you to say that you're one of our athletes. And it's funny because we get into that zone of we want to be. Yeah, well, we want to be so Instagram famous, but we don't take the time to do our research.
Well, it's what's funny too is this whole sponsorship thing. Like, yeah, you're like sponsorships used to be a big deal. Now I feel like sponsorships don't really mean shit. Like,
no.
It's like, okay, you get some free product and stuff like that, but you're not. Most sponsorships nowadays are not giving you a check every month or every week. No. You know, they're just
you get a percentage of how
discount code or which is nothing anyway.
It's like a coupon.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just too much work for me.
Yeah.
I don't.
And what happens when you all of a sudden, like, I've had a couple, you know, and all it takes is, I swear they have bots that look for certain hashtags. They'll be like, hey, hit us up for this. Or a company that says, hey, we want you to be a part of our supplements. Well, if I've never even tried it, how in the hell? So then what happens? You sign on with somebody and all of a sudden you realize that product does not fit you. It doesn't fit your lifestyle. It doesn't fit who you are. Or it actually adversely affects your training.
Here's the thing that I have an issue with. Like, I have a tough enough time promoting myself,
right?
Let alone promoting something that I don't even necessarily totally believe in. You know, like I cannot just like, it's so cringy to me. Like, promoting stuff that I don't fully like support or like am fully behind. Like I just can't bring myself to do that, because then I'm like, well, if like people are paying like their hard-earned money for this, and if it's like something that I don't think is necessarily the best thing, then I almost feel guilty if they buy it, you know? Like I don't know. I always had that issue with like my mom got into like some multi-level marketing stuff, and like that stuff is just, I think it's kind of the same thing. You're just like blasting social media with all this crap, and it's like I just get sick of it.
Yeah. That's like the stuff that I promote. It's stuff that I really like my girl clothing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I literally spend all of my extra spending money on that stuff.
Yeah.
I have like 20 pairs of leggings, but it's because I know it's bad. It's like so bad.
What is that show that's on Netflix where you're supposed to put it up to your face and see if it like
they all bring me joy.
Exactly.
Well, and here's the thing too, is like there's people who, like you said, are sponsored by stuff that they never even used before the sponsor, the person gave it to them. Like, hey, try this. You know, like if I'm a company, I'm the sponsored athlete that I want is someone who's been buying my shit for years.
Right.
And they are proven like loyal to the brand or whatever. And then you're like, hey, here's this on top of it. Then they're like fucking all gung ho, because they're like, I already liked you in the first place. Now you're willing to
and
like
now
give
you're
me this shit.
Free stuff?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. That's how I would be if De Novo Nutrition gave me free stuff.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I've been using it for 5 years on and off, and now I'm like, I love pre-workout now.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I wasn't much
Epic?
of a pre-workout
They're
user
like
before.
Epic, and then they have what, Utopian too?
Yeah. Well, they have Ignite and Utopia.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, that
Utopia is like ADD medicine for me. I like zero in, and
it's
I
like
get so much work
it's almost like a cognitive enhancer type thing.
Might need to write that one down.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down.
And the flavors,
They're so good.
Oh my god! Like this kind of turned into a commercial for
De
Novo, but
have you ever put it in like seltzer water?
No.
It gets so bubbly and good.
Oh my god, this might be a game changer.
It is the best because I use it a lot, like when I work. So I do work in a gym, but I have to do a lot of like computer work and a lot of paperwork, and so I'll take it. I'll take a scoop because I also love caffeine.
Yeah, same.
Before I start working, and it's just like laser focus.
Yeah.
My work.
No, I've only done one like tub of Utopia, but I blew through it so fucking fast.
I know.
And then I'm like, I need to like take a break from this because it's like a drug.
But if you think about it, it's cheaper per serving than a Bang or a Monster.
Yeah, you're right.
So
you may have just sold me again. I might just have to go
I am in between right now.
Yeah,
After I accidentally took a gram of caffeine at one of my meets, I kind of told myself pre-workout is done for a while. So yeah,
no, it's good.
I love it.
Utopia is like, I wouldn't even necessarily call it a pre-workout. Like
no, it's a pre-work for me.
Yeah.
Like a pre-mental work.
Yeah. Like for me, like I'd take it before on a Saturday when I got programming to do all day, I'll sit down and take that. And
yeah, it helps you focus so much.
Yeah.
I like the pre-workout too because it has like electrolytes, and I think the pre-workout has the L-theanine in it, which helps you stay calm, and it helps prevent a caffeine crash.
Yeah. I think Ben Escrow is kind of the CEO and the formulator for them, and he is just a genius when it comes to putting that stuff together.
And I really, really like it because like I can tell when I have the pre-workout because I like to superset my lifts anyway. But I realize that I'm supersetting, and I'll have like maybe a 30-second break, and it's just like go.
That's what you want, though.
But I'm not fatiguing.
Yeah. No, there's De Novo, and I haven't tried their protein and stuff, but I've heard good things about that as well.
I haven't tried the protein either because I'm like sensitive to dairy and
same. Freaking A, the worst.
So lame.
I know. But
but it looks good.
It looks really good. So if anyone's out there that likes it, let us know.
If anyone is as obsessive as Becky.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I just looked them up. They just launched a pineapple coconut utopia.
Yeah.
I'm
Ridiculous.
so.
That's so old.
Hey
Get with the
Chuck,
program.
remember how you let me keep the credit card this month? Okay.
All right, let's bring this sucker in for a landing here.
Yeah, we've been going for an hour and 43 minutes.
Holy
I think.
shit. Yeah.
Oh my god, it was exactly an hour and 43 minutes. That's creepy.
Because, the tablet has the Skype thing.
Yeah, it has a time.
I started to think
you
you
think
were
she
like
just pulled that out of her
superhuman.
brain?
I was gonna be like, holy
I'm
fuck,
just
she's
absorbing.
smart.
Oh my
Time.
god. Like, you're good, but I don't think you're that
I would have
good.
admitted you at a time where I would have been like, she's like a fucking X-Man.
Jesus. Well, anyone with common sense would assume she had a timer.
You know
bro.
what? You're talking to me here.
Well, Becky, I just want to thank you for coming on. It's been a blast, and hopefully we have shed some light on the single ply equipped lifting, and hopefully that some of these listeners out there can, look at it in a different way and realize that it isn't cheating, and it's actually a super cool. I mean, I almost think of it as kind of like it's a different fraction of the sport, and I think it requires more attention, and I think it is hopefully gonna catch some steam and kind of blow up here, but who knows?
I hope so too, because it's definitely a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah. So thanks again, and that's it here from the Coaches Collab podcast. We're out.
Bye.
The Coaches Collaboration Podcast. What do you mean you haven't subscribed yet? What the hell are you waiting for?
Come on, y'all.
The Coaches Collaboration Podcast is brought to you by Salutum Health and Performance. Take your full power potential to a new level. Online at salutumhp.com.